In baseball, we love to focus on long-term deals that go boom or bust. These successful deals, like Max Scherzer's 7-year, $210 million deal, held up as a beacon for what can be a win-win for both sides, while Robinson Cano and Albert Pujols' 10-year deals of largesse have become cautionary tales. So when owners become skittish, a shorter term with a higher AAV makes sense. And recently, there's been a preponderance of one-year deals, the proliferation of which these last few weeks can be attributed to the uncertainty surrounding a new CBA. So let's take a look back at one-year deals that ended up being veritable steals. Just this past year, the Toronto Blue Jays were seeing double after the dual success of Robbie Ray and Marcus Semien. Ray signed a one-year deal for $8 million. After being a slightly above-average league pitcher for the vast majority of his career, the lefty had a season for the ages, almost winning the Cy Young Award unanimously on the basis of drastically cutting down his walk rate while racking up a bushel full of strikeouts with only 2 pitches, both of them hard. As for Semien, he bet on himself to the tune of 1 year and $18 million and set the record for the most home runs ever by a second baseman and won a Gold Glove. Ray and Semien should parlay a combined $26 million into over $200 million when you ascertain what they'll both sign for this offseason. Here are some of the best one-year signings from a club perspective over the last 15 years or so. Mike Napoli, 1 year, $7 million ahead of 2016 with the Cleveland Indians. You remember the shirts? Party at Napoli's, don't you? Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. Sales of the shirt raised over $200 grand for the Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital. No way. Way. Napoli set career highs with 34 home runs and 101 RBI. And even though he set the record for most strikeouts by an Indian and led all AL first basemen in errors, the run production was noteworthy. Dexter Fowler returns to the Cubs in 2016 on a one-year deal. This year marks the return of the hit show Dexter on Showtime after a lackluster series finale. But the athlete named Dexter was an all-star in 2016. Reached base nearly 40% of the time, 393 to be exact, swung at only 19% of pitches outside the strike zone, lowest rate in the majors, and became the first black player to start for the Cubs in the World Series. He was a terrific catalyst for the Chicago team, including when he led off Game 7, doing something no one else had done before.
Dexter Fowler to lead it off. Fowler hits a fly ball to deep center field. Back goes Davis, back near the center field fence, at the wall, and that ball is a home run. Home run, Dexter Fowler. Would you believe a leadoff home run by Dexter Fowler?
Fowler and the Cubs ended the curse of the Billy Goat and finally won that elusive World Series for the Northsiders. Lance Berkman, 2011 Cardinals, 1 year, $8 million. After a down year in 2010, Berkman dialed up a .301 average, slugged 31 home runs, and drove in 94 runs. Was an all-star and had some huge hits in the postseason and the World Series. One of the greatest games ever, Game 6 of the Fall Classic. Berkman delivered with this clutch hit in the bottom of the 10th.
This game is tied. Going to third is Pujols, and it's 9-9. They just won't go away.
And since we're talking about Berkman, this is also an excuse to show one of my favorite plays ever. This ridiculous catch of Tal's Hill in Houston, May 18, 2002. Incredible. I can't get enough of that. Why would you build a hill in center field? I love it. All right. Back to the list we go. Kevin Millwood, 1 year, $7 million, 2005. Millwood had a lifetime ERA of 4.11, and while playing for 7 teams, racked up 169 wins versus 152 losses while compiling over 2,000 strikeouts. He was once a part of an Atlanta Braves rotation that included Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz, and was an all-star in 1999. But in 2005 with the Cleveland Indians, Millwood was truly superb as he led the American League with a 2.86 ERA and 192 innings and was tied for 6th in batting for the Cy Young. Another noted pitcher, Andy Pettitte, 1 year, $5.5 million, 2009. With the cap brim low like a gunslinger out of the Wild Wild West, not the Will Smith one. Maybe you misremember the excellence of the Yankee lefty in the last season in which New York won it all. Pettitte had a 1.11 ERA plus at 194 and 2/3 innings, but really made hay in the playoffs. Andy was just dandy. 4-0, 3.52 ERA in 5 postseason starts, including wins in each of the 3 series-clinching games. Ever remembers the giant gobs of money being shelled out like a scene at a Richard Pryor's Brewster's Millions. The CC Sabathia, Mark Teixeira, AJ Burnett. It was Pettitte, though, who stepped up big time. In the meantime, another one here was also the signing of Adrian Beltre. Beltre was fantastic, right? The Big Bopper, 1 year, $10 million deal, a slash line of 321, 365, 553, 28 homers, 102 RBI. Just don't rub his head, okay? The guy made the All-Star team and helped create the narrative of Adrian Beltre, future Hall of Famer. Let's stay in Beantown, shall we? January 2003, the Red Sox signed David Ortiz. 1 year, $1.25 million deal after he was released by the Twins. Poppy don't preach. He just hits home runs. 31 to be exact, drove in 101, fifth in the AL MVP voting in his first season. And of course, it was the beginning of 14 years of a lot of chowder. His average season, 34 homers, 109 RBI, and a 148 OPS plus. From Big Poppy to the Big Hurt, January 06, 1 year, $500,000, including another $2.6 million in incentives. The baseball world thought that Frank Thomas was finished after playing just 34 games in the White Sox 2005 championship season. The 38-year-old took a page out of Cher's songbook. If I could turn back time, 39 home runs, 114 RBI. So maybe Andrew Heaney with the Dodgers or Noah Syndergaard can parlay a one-year deal with the Halos into a lofty, well-deserved extension. Ultimately, bigger isn't always better when you explore market inefficiencies, as some of these examples helped to illustrate.